What's cracking, guys? Omar Isaf here, back with another video, back on the third floor every single Wednesday, dropping that hot content. Let me ask you a simple question, a very simple question, Skippy. If you are about this life, why are you not really about this life? If training to failure is so important, why are you forgetting this? And we're not, doubting or questioning the efficacy of training hard, training to failure, or the need to have a certain proximity to failure. In other words, in order to have an effective workout, you need to be pushing your body, placing a certain demand to perturb it to change. Doesn't matter if you're trying to build muscle or get stronger. We all intuitively understand that. You need a requisite level of effort. We're on the same boat. But my question to you is, why are you shooting yourself in the foot? And I mean this seriously. The function of this channel is to give you high utility tips in order to allow you to perform better, right? So you get better results, your physique, you look better, you perform better, so you're lifting more weight, maybe you feel a little bit better about yourself. Pat yourself on the back, Timmy. That's the function of this channel. But one large missing gap, we could talk about little technique tricks, right, in order to help you improve the squat, bench, deadlift, and that can certainly help. But this can have a dramatic impact if you do this correctly on the totality of your lifting. What am I talking about? I'm talking about mental fatigue, and I'm talking about potential, not cognitive impairment, but not organizing your day effectively so that you could train as hard as possible. Let me get right into it. Okay, cool. So MASS, monthly application strength sports. It's a research review every single month. You got a ton of great people on there. Mike Zourdos covered this one, a recent review. And basically what happened in this study is that they had two different groups. I think the average 1 rep max for the boys doing this, the young lads, was about 265 pounds. So not bad. They do squat. They're decently trained individuals. And one group, they basically just watched a documentary. They're on Easy Street before they had to do an AMRAP, I think it was, at around 70%. Cool. The other group, on the other hand, they did something that was very cognitively demanding. So they had to do something, I think it's called the Stroop test. Essentially, they're on a computer doing what amounts to work. They need to be thinking about these things as a test where they have to identify colors and all these other things. Sounds like it might be simple, right? But just think about you sitting your ass down, working on an assignment, doing some work right before you hit the gym. So they did something that was cognitively demanding. One group, the other group, watching a documentary. And they both hit the gym, these groups. And guess what happened? The group that had mental fatigue, so they rated their fatigue before entering the gym. Their mental fatigue, so how much mental energy they had. And the group that did the more cognitively demanding thing, more fatigue. Makes sense. Guess what? They both had to do this AMRAP. Who did more reps? Documentary, so the people that were chilling, or the people that did very intense work beforehand? The people that were chilling by over 15%. This isn't a nominal amount. This isn't a small amount. If I was to say to you, hey, you're going for AMRAP right now, you want to squeeze out 2 to 3 more reps, it's like, do not, make sure whatever you do, don't have a certain level of mental fatigue. We all have a certain amount of fatigue in the day, right? You can't avoid work, you can't avoid school, you can't avoid relationship problems, all these things, but you could set yourself up for success. The group, both groups actually, they did whatever task, so the documentary or that test, the thing that was demanding, before actually lifting. 15 minutes before. And so they entered the gym, and that other group that was mentally fatigued from doing that task performed quite poorly. 15% on average less. That is not a small amount. Think about you getting excited for a top set where you're like slapping yourself in the face, like, I'm gonna be strong. And you go ahead and you try and do reps. And instead of getting 10 reps, you get 8 reps. It's a bad workout. That can make a dramatic difference long-term on your gains. And that's a much bigger difference than taking a pre-workout, me teaching you about, the overhead press, kind of tweaking the form a little bit, making sure your lats are in your pocket. All those little things are little tips and tricks that give you maybe 2%, 3%. Sleep, same idea. Sleep is very important. Or if you don't get enough sleep, man, getting good sleep is more effective than any supplement. Now, mental fatigue, when we talk about the totality of your week, is paramount for your success in the gym. Likely. Now, this is just one study. There's many caveats. Does this affect things when you're not doing an AMRAP? Does it affect strength? In fact, they also measured a vertical jump test, and they seem to perform, even those that were more mentally fatigued due to the cognitive test that they did, perform about the same. But there's about, I think it was, they reviewed 15 studies, and out of the 15 studies, there was at least over 10 that showed endurance-related activities, and then doing something that was cognitively demanding, it had a decline in performance. And Mike Zourdos posited, he put forth that there needs to be a lot more research because there's only a few on resistance trained subjects. So really, we don't know enough to conclusively say, but we kind of intuitively know this as lifters. Let me give you a scenario right here. You're at the gym, right? You want to get excited, you had a long day at work, but then you get a text, you find out from your boss, you got to do some work. Oh man, now that mental load, the mental fatigue that you have, it's rising. Do you think you're going to perform the same? Sure, you could tell yourself, you could say, hey, man up, slam some pre-workout and let's get after it. It's all maybe a mindset, and that can be valid to get you in the space in order to train hard. But you don't put a band-aid on a gunshot wound, right? You're not resolving the problem, which is setting your training up so you could succeed. And what I mean when I say that, we all have stress. We all have things that are mentally demanding to do. So either work, school, and most likely for most individuals, you probably train after school, after work. So you're going after your fatigue from the day and you think, wow, these weights feel real heavy. But there was ways we could gamify the system in order to assist us so that when we enter the gym, we have our best self and we could, in reality, train hard. Because if we talk about the concept of training to failure, what I want to get across is your performance isn't static, right? It's not the exact same every single day. So if you go on Monday and you try and do an AMRAP, you'll get 10 reps. On Wednesday, you'll get 10 reps, depending upon so many things. The biopsychosocial model, as Mike Teixeira would say, your environment, the stress, the sleep, all of these things, your hormones, many variables. Your performance fluctuates day to day. So why not set yourself up for success? And probably the biggest problem I notice from most people, the mental fatigue. They're way too much on their phones in the modern era. If you're bumping tunes, so you're getting some of that, external motivation, you're listening to whatever music you want, fine. But most people, they're on social media, they're looking for that validation, they're mentally engaged elsewhere rather than in the training itself. And so immediately, you're giving too much mental space somewhere else. I would recommend for most people, and I said this several months now back, that putting your phone on airplane mode and instead just focusing on the nature of your workout in order to try and attack the weights and lift the most amount of weight makes sense. Don't distract yourself, right? Same idea. So we all have work, we all have stress. I'll share a quick insight from my personal life in a second. But if you work 9 to 5, something that I've tried with a lot of clients with great success over time, what should your 2 heavy days be if, like most people, you work 9 to 5? Saturday and Sunday. Not the heavy days, but the days that you exert more effort. Because you have the day off, you get in the flow, you can listen to your music before you go to the gym, you don't have all that work you're supposed to do. Set yourself up for success. Have maybe a flexible training program. This is where, you're not a Russian national lifter preparing for a competition. You don't have to be rigid with your training. If you have heavy squats on Monday, but shit happens beforehand where you're late at the office or you have an exam and then you immediately have to train, maybe bump that to Tuesday and instead on Monday you do your lighter work, your accessory work. So you want to gamify the system to be flexible enough to determine when you need to really apply yourself and when you can apply yourself. And I could say this, once again, it's not just about you trying to put that band-aid over by getting super caffeinated, because eventually that'll shoot yourself in the foot because you'll become desensitized to caffeine, you can't get enough sleep, and you're getting even more fatigue. There's downstream effects. What you want to do is set yourself up so that when you enter the gym, you really can apply yourself 100%. And this would be now about 10 years ago when I started as a trainer. I took on a high workload. So I was training over 60 hours a week. I was also working part-time as a bartender. So your boy was working over 70 hours a week clocked. And if you're a trainer, you know how crazy that is. Training 60 hours per week of actual people, not just being in the gym. If we had that in the gym, it's closer to 80 hours a week. Right? I really wanted to get better at my craft, learn what was up, make some scrizzle. That's what I was doing. I would train, so I'd train clients at 5 a.m. and then I'd probably train 6 or 7 a.m., work all the way to 9 or 10 p.m. and I'd do that 5 days a week and train and work on Saturday and train also on Saturday, bartend Saturday night. Okay, now let me tell you, from having all those things, all the just total fatigue, my training took a major hit. You could tell yourself, oh yeah, I'm going to get after all these things, but that wasn't the time for me to make gains. As soon as I lessened my workload, the numbers that I was lifting went up dramatically. So we need to understand there's times and places for everything. We might not be in that position where we could exert ourselves 100%. I mean, there's a pandemic going on. I understand these things. But with the variables you can control, you want to manipulate them for success. So if you're really about this life, if you're really about your gains, don't forget this. Don't forget that mental fatigue is important, that you're not static, that you can't just, summon the demon inside of you every single time, because you'll need to pay the cost eventually. You want to know when to apply effort and when to allow the recovery to happen. So this is very important. Keep in mind, 15% is not a small number. No technique tip is likely going to increase it that dramatically. No music you bump is probably going to increase your AMRAP by that amount. Get to the gym, focused with a clear state of mind. That's why I don't give a shit if you're foam rolling. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just make sure that you're in a space in order to perform at your best. Anyways, I gotta get out of here. If you enjoy, get out of my own house. Can you believe this? How they're kicking me out of here too, as well as the gym? If you like the video, make sure to like the damn video. If you like videos being back every single week, throw that video a like. I'm back on Wednesday. And also, you're going to see some content. I decided to film this because Mask came out recently. This is today, December. There's actually some content from before gyms were shut down. And also, I'm going to leak this because, you know, just trying to edit everything, it comes out staggered. But there's a certain person who has an affinity for kiwis. I've been training in his basement gym. You're going to see some cool footage from that soon. Stay tuned. I hope everyone is well. I'll see all you guys, my rascals, in that next video. Peace. Eat your vegetables, eat your vegetables, eat your fucking vegetables.